Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 42. The desert sand whipped through the light of the transport's headlights as Monroe pulled the truck to a stop at the Vegas gate. "Good evening, Major Virgis. We weren't expecting you tonight," a federal soldier declared, stepping forward. "Just finished a hunt. Figured since we were so far south, we'd stop by for a visit," Cole stated. The soldier looked at him curiously. "Hold on, sir." The soldier walked towards a guard shack and picked up a radio. "He doesn't look too happy to see us," Monroe commented. "Probably because we're here for supplies, not providing them," Cole suggested. "True story," Monroe agreed, watching the soldier approach. "Captain Areno says your teams can use the guest quarters, but he wants to see you first thing in the morning," the soldier directed. "Thanks," Cole told him as he opened the gate. Monroe drove the truck inside and directed it toward one of the old hotels. After an early breakfast, Cole stood in front of Captain Paul Areno. Cole could never stand this man. He did his job ruthlessly, and his breath filled the air with a sour stench as he spoke. "Major Virgis, we need the supplies," the captain insisted. "I'm not sending my fighters into the radiation zone for clothing. Texas is still producing cotton," Cole protested. Areno shook his head, countering, "They want to barter, and we're not negotiating with traitors." Cole's face scowled at the captain's response. "That's BS. The feds do it for oil all the time." "That's different." "Why?" Cole wondered. "Because the fuel isn't for refugees, but the clothing is," Areno explained. "Landowners don't need clothing? Everything they're wearing is produced with the cotton they grow? Anything recovered out there wouldn't be good for much except making sure refugees aren't running around naked." "Those people you call refugees create enough food for this town to warrant a trade," Cole defended, sickened by the disgust in Areno's voice. "That's not how my superiors see it," Areno explained. "I'm not sending my fighters into dangerous situations because the feds don't want to spend some resources," Cole declared. "Fine. Maybe we can use some of our refugee squads. We already feed them iodide like candy," Areno explained. Still disgusted with the disdain Areno had for the refugees, Cole declared. "Whatever you think is right, Captain. I don't have the authority to make that call." "Just keep that supply list in mind while you're out there," Areno insisted. "We will. If you'll excuse me, I have to oversee the supply transfer," Cole declared, eager to be dismissed. "Take care, Major Virgis," Areno told him. "You too, Captain," Cole replied, exiting through the door. Heading towards the loading docks, Cole listened to the sound of trucks idling and people loading boxes. "Major Virgis, sir," Private Jessup greeted Cole as he approached. "Private, how's it going?" Cole asked, looking at the trucks and the list the young man was carrying. "The feds are all in a rankle over the amount of salt we need, sir," Jessup informed him. "Yeah, we need it for Empire. You got it worked out?" "Monroe did, sir." "Is he still over in the office?" "Yes, sir," Jessup answered, but he paused, hesitating. Finally, he asked, "Major Virgis, sir?" "Yes, Private." "I saw Chappie leaving with the last team we encountered." "Uh-huh," Cole responded, looking at the list. He knew where the young man's questions would take them, and this was not the right place to have the conversation. "Why weren't they put with the others we brought here? And where is Chappie?" Jessup wondered. Shoving the clipboard back at the young man, Cole commanded, "Keep your voice down, Private." Cole watched Sergeants Bingham and Bennett approach. "We'll talk about this later, Private," he insisted before greeting his friends. "Staff Sergeant Alex Bingham, Sergeant Patrick Bennett. How are you guys getting along these days?" "Fine, Major. How about yourself?" Alex responded. "No complaints," Cole declared honestly. The soldiers looked at him curiously. "Seriously?" Alex wondered. Cole nodded, replying, "Doesn't do you much good to look back." Sergeant Bennett nodded as well. "I'll second that. You got everything you need?" "Monroe's got it handled," Cole affirmed. "It's good to see you, Major, but if I'm not needed here, I have to report to the captain." "Take care, sir," Bennett said, heading off to accomplish an unknown task. Cole thought the man looked stressed, and a vein in his forehead looked more bulgy than Cole remembered. "Good to see you," Cole told him as he left. Turning to Alex, Cole declared, "He seems even more focused than usual. He's put in too many years at the re-education camps. It takes a toll on a man," Alex said, watching Bennett leave. "I don't know how he does it," Cole admitted, thinking of how the captain talked about the refugees like they were little more than animals. "He believes he is helping. He believes in the system and thinks he's assisting people so they can survive in it," Alex explained. "He's bought and sold," Cole declared. He was a little disappointed. He liked Bennett, but couldn't understand how a man could manipulate another human being so ruthlessly and still feel he was doing the right thing. More like blind loyalty, but damn, that man can fight. I'd go into any battle at his side. And honestly, he has a way with people. He's convincing," Alex respectfully corrected Cole. Encouraged by Alex's explanation, Cole suggested, "Maybe he just needs a break. We could plan a trip to Dolores's place. It'd be fun. Take a couple days to pretend the world isn't falling into shit." Alex smiled at the suggestion. "I don't know. He used to take time off before all this, but not since. I'll try, though. Where's Chappie?" "I sent him with a load to Colorado," Cole said quietly. "Found some good product?" Shaking his head affirmatively, Cole responded, "I did." "I think that's the last of it, Major. Staff Sergeant Bingham, I wasn't expecting to see you down here," Monroe explained. "I had to stop by and see how my favorite fighters in the North were doing," Alex said, teasing Monroe. "We sure did have our hands full on the way here," Monroe explained. Alex lowered his voice, changing the subject. "Virgis, did the captain talk to you about clothing stocks?" "He did," Cole affirmed. "Are you sending your people?" Alex wondered. "No," Cole said flatly. "Good. I'm glad you decided to keep your people safe. They have a whole warehouse of clothing. They're just using it as an excuse to form the refugee salvage squads. I heard Tweed discussing it." "I'm surprised that it took this long. They've been using the refugees as fighters since the beginning back east. Hell, half the feds and mercs are refugees. They put trackers in them," Cole explained. Alex looked at him curiously. "Really? That way, the fighters they train can't jump ship. Did they put trackers in the refugees here?" Alex wondered. "Who knows what's in those shots they give them and us. You could have one in you," Cole teased. Alex didn't smile. He simply stated, "I'm going to look into that." "Let me know what you find out," Cole requested. "Will do. Drive safe, Major," Alex declared, checking his watch. "Take care, Staff Sergeant," Cole responded, watching his men load up for the trip home. Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 441, season 15, episode 42. Hey, Chin, what's up?
Chin's up, y'all.
Well, man, we had a little bit of an excitement with our live broadcast there, but no worries. We will adapt and overcome. And we also have Gregory Barone in the house. Hey, Gregory, how you doing?
Greetings. I come in peace. Take me to your leader.
Gregory is one of our spectacular performers from our audio drama, and I really wanted to be able to showcase, we got some talented voices on the audio drama, but they also have their own talents and their own rights when it comes to the prepping community. So welcome to the show, Gregory. So glad you can make it with us today.
Thanks for having me on here. This is like my first time doing an interview on a podcast.
And you're live, so no pressure.
Yes, I know.
No pressure at all.
Yeah.
I'm so sweet, huh? I'm sorry. That's just how I am. Upcoming events, we got the big eclipse day tomorrow, and I guess my area is just going nutso down here in Texas over all that. So a bunch of hoopla. And we also have Prepper Camp, of course, coming up last weekend in September. Get your tickets, get your camping spot now. They will sell out. That is one thing you can pretty much be guaranteed of every year, is it will sell out. So get your stuff now. Well, they've done a couple price hikes now, right, Chin?
Mm-hmm. They have, yes.
Yeah, so you got to get it now while it's still affordable, guys.
Doesn't get any cheaper.
Doesn't. It doesn't. It just gets more expensive as we
It
go.
doesn't matter. Come pandemic, hell, high water, whatever. We have prepper camp.
Oh
so.
yeah, we're there every year. Every year. I told Rick, like, I was like, I don't even care if there's not a prepper camp. You'll still see me over here on your front door.
The salute. Whoop-whoop.
We'd just be hanging. All right. So in our reading of Virgis today, they were getting back from the roundup that they were doing out in the Badlands, and Areno's trying to get them to send guys out into the radiation zone, just being classic Areno jerk. And
More clothing to wear.
yeah, right. And they can't trade for it. Come on now. It's all about supplies. The trackers. The trackers was a topic of conversation, and how, they were installed in vaccination shots and whatnot. So, yeah, interesting little theory there. And then we kind of have the catch up with the boys, and Virgis is like, I don't know about this Bennett guy, I don't know about him. It's funny because my good friend Skip plays him, and I love Skip. He's my guy, so it was perfectly suited for him. Alrighty, so we're talking urban prepping today. What a great conversation. We were chit-chatting in the green room. We had lots of time today because of a couple little technical hiccups. So, yeah, we're getting gardens going and whatnot. So Gregory is my urban man. And Gregory, how long have you been interested, like, both in gardening, but also, like, had the idea that, like, maybe I need to start being a little bit more prepared? And what was kind of the trigger for you to start having that awareness?
Actually, it happened with my grandpa, who, in my younger years, he's deceased now. He lived in New York with my grandma, so he had like this row of like cinder block and concrete of like a 15-foot row by like 2.5-foot wide row of this dirt, and he would just grow like peppers, tomatoes, zucchini, cauliflower, broccoli, and that. And then it also kind of moved on to my dad, who, like, wherever we lived, we always have like a little garden to grow our own little vegetables to save money.
Nice.
So like on weekends, I would have to get pulled away from the TV and help out gardening. Yeah.
Eat.
Yes.
Yep, got to do the weeding. That's perfect. So they really help foster that. We're going out to the garden and getting those fresh goodies out there and things like that, right?
Yes, it's one of those kind of skills it's good to kind of know about in some ways from others that I know of.
Yes. You're not wrong, because there's so many urbanites, that we talk to, that it's like, well, I don't even know where to begin on doing a garden. So to have that handed down through your generation, your grandfather that passed that to your father, and then you're picking it up, that's a really cool thing. There's a lot of people that don't have the skill. So that's really impressive. Step one on a prepping journey, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and some stuff I've done is kind of, what we did for doing this urban gardening thing is mostly experimental stuff, but it has worked in some ways, some of the stuff we did.
That's the best, though. Because
Yes.
that's what now is all about, when you don't have to, like, rely on it, We had one year that, like, gophers took a bite out of every single potato we had planted, and it was just devastating, because it was so much work. But better for it to happen now and for us to understand, like, those threats are there, than when we needed to eat that food, like, rely upon it. So really good to start practicing early.
Yeah, that must have sucked for you.
It did. We had just expanded and did like it was a big field, like a 20 by 20 at least of potatoes, and the whole thing got massacred.
Ouch.
Yeah. to say the least. So but that's why I say like experiments are good. What kind of I'm curious now, what kind of like what's your top 1 or 2 experimental items that you found that let's do one that was like really good and one that was not really good.
Well, what was it? Experimental. Like, yeah, we've actually took these those thick plastic storage bins that you get from like I guess like Walmart or somewhere.
Yeah, like a Rubbermaid.
Yes, one of those. And we drilled some holes in the bottom of it to drain out the excess water, and we put like well, I want to say polished or very well rounded stone, like real small stone that you probably put in like your fish tank or something.
Right.
We put that on the bottom there, and then we put like a mulchy dirt on top of that for it to for the water to go through. And we just put the seeds in the dirt and let them grow.
Using that as your storage for a raised bed. That's actually a killer idea.
Yes. I mean, you could actually do that indoors too.
Right. Yeah. Because we're going to be building a greenhouse, and we're always in debate over whether like to do concrete board or to do wood board with a liner. But I never even thought about like a plastic product. And if it's not in the sunlight, then it's going to be able to last a lot longer.
Yes.
That's a killer idea.
Yeah. I think we also did liner one time too, and that worked pretty well. We just had to put the dirt in it, and it worked well.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had one last, I want to say like 8 years in the California sun. That was wood with the liner. So it's not a bad system. It just, when it failed, it really sucked because like now you have the wood, and you have to remove the wood. Now you got piles of stone and all that stuff, So, I mean, whatever you use, you're kind of be in the same boat there.
Yeah. Apparently the thick plastic that these bins are made out of are very durable.
Right.
You would not think it would work, but it worked.
Huh. I like that. Okay, what about something that just total like, we're never doing that again? For me, it was everybody's like, planting an egg carton, right? I didn't have good success with planting in an egg carton. I thought it was like the ball was too little, and then they're like, you could just plant the egg carton, and I guess, but I don't know. I didn't like it.
It didn't decompose quick enough for the
to like
roots.
Give exactly.
Yeah, one time we tried this thing that's supposed to help grow the seeds, and like this little thing that looks like smushed down net, and that didn't really work so well either.
Okay. So. The topsy-turvies, right? They always marketed those as like the urban grow your tomatoes upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I remember those.
They were the worst.
Nuts.
I didn't have any success with those.
Never tried those.
Oh, like in California, the sun's just baking that dirt that's in the ground, above ground now. My father-in-law was like, topsy-turvies all the way. And the topsy-turvies were the worst. They sucked. So
yeah, that's some good ideas. And then I guess one of the other things I was hoping to go over is like the right vegetables to grow depending on what region of the country you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, like if you think about depending on how things, if anything goes wrong in today's society, you need to have some kind of way of getting vitamins inside you. Because I remember from some history thing that sailors got a major...
The scurvy? From
yes,
not having, from not having...
the vitamins in you and all
Yep.
that was not fun. That would not be fun for anyone.
Pine needle tea. You can drink a pine needle tea. It gives you vitamin C, and that's how you can ward off scurvy if you're not getting like access to oranges and that kind of stuff. In a grid
that's a
down
new one for me.
situation. Yeah. Yeah, the pine needles are super useful, but that is one, that the natives taught to the Westerners. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also have a list of different things you could actually grow depending on where you are. So, like, you're not limited to, like, potatoes, carrots, zucchini, tomatoes, peas, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Artichoke is a good source of vitamin C too.
Oh, artichoke
Peppers.
is?
Yeah.
How about that? Okay. And
Yeah.
I know that milkweed thistle is an artichoke relative, so I'm going to have to check that out now. You're just perking all kinds of interest in me now. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Thank you. I did a
Okay.
lot of homework on this.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, don't forget broccoli and cauliflower too here.
Now, do you grow those in your region? Because you're in Virginia, so how's that?
Yeah,
work
we
for
can
you?
grow those where I live. So
Winter crop?
Yeah.
Because when I plant it in the spring and I've lived in warm areas, it's just too warm. And you get the volting that happens, like they grow, like they want to bloom too fast. So, and then when I was planting in the fall, because we were planting in the fall, I was getting worms in it. Like these, I know they get worms in them, that happens, but more so in the fall. So, yeah. Do you plant that like as soon as you're coming out of winter? You're in a different latitude as me, so.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can grow that. Where I live is just, I haven't really grown much of anything as of late, so just.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so, and then of course you have your herbs too, like thyme and rosemary. You can also grow.
I have thyme like crazy. And Texas.
And I don't have any time.
Yeah, I got time, man. I got some time. It's done really well here. And usually we have basil that is just like growing like weeds here.
Wow.
But yeah, parsley is a good one. You can get to go year round.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're at. My mom used to even grow that under the snow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like she'd just cover it in leaf clutter, and then you'd be able to dig down through the leaves in the snow when we were in Michigan and still get to fresh garlic. Fresh parsley. It was really cool.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. So how about water storage where you're at? I'm always interested to hear like how urbanites are tackling water storage. It's just curiosity of mine, personal curiosity. Do you?
Sometimes you just put a big, huge like plastic bin out and just let it rain, and you just collect the water, and you're good.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sometimes like that.
for where you're at, it's probably more coastal, right? So
Yes. So we get lots of rain.
and so before, like when you're hearing hurricanes coming and stuff, you're just worried about like filling up your water storage at that point. Then you don't have like a permanent supply on hand.
Yeah, it's always somehow plants in some areas grow better with actual like rainwater than you would from like your
Oh,
faucet.
I'm talking personal for you, for like hurricanes coming your way. What do you have for water storage at your house?
Oh, well, sometimes we have the those like 1 gallon jug things of water that we have just stored somewhere in case things go, like the power goes out and we can't get any good water.
That's what I have in kitty litter. Like the kitty litter, the big kitty litter ones are really good for water storage, for like gray water, of course. But yeah. So I'm just curious. I just always like to kind of pick into that question because it's such a challenging thing, water storage is. And so I'm always curious, like, how are other people tackling that beast? Is that something I can, adapt to my system? Because my system is mayhem. So,
Yeah. Some people I've seen actually like collect water from like what's the term I want to use here? The stuff, the gutters for your roofs here.
the downspouts?
Yes, downspouts.
Yeah.
They do that sometimes, but I think in some cases you need to have like a special permit or something for it.
Isn't that whack? I know.
Yeah.
To
In some
collect
cases,
rainwater. Yeah.
And then I've also seen, like, done some research on that. And I've seen, like, people actually have, like, these very intricate water filtration systems to do that. I'm just like, whoa.
Off of their rain storage?
To get the water.
Yeah, they actually use, like, the rain storage and put them through water filters.
Fair enough. Why not?
Yeah, and then there's also some way, like, they have, like, this, what's called a water collector. It's actually, like, it looks like an upside down umbrella, but there's a hole in the center, and the water just comes down and just drains right down into the bin.
Yeah, I'd like to do one of those for my system up when we do the greenhouse. I just don't think your flow of your property needs to be good, or you got to have a pump for it. So
Yeah,
top of the
an issue
property.
too.
Mm-hmm. Top of the property. So
yes, I think I've also sent you some diagrams of actually making your own little homemade water filter.
yeah. So I have the system that I have is an Alexa Pure, and I love that filter. I don't get paid by Patriot Supply or anything, but my Patriot Supply.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are really good, and even if your filter is gone out of that thing, you have the stainless steel jugs to be able to do that same system you sent me inside of there, and it's so efficient. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good little system, the Alexa Pure.
Yeah, I'm actually having this kind of crazy idea of actually trying that and then get one of those special, like, water test sticks to see how well it works.
You should. You absolutely should. And those would be good to have on hand as well. I don't have anything that would, like, check contamination of water.
Yes, the water test sticks you would kind of find on Amazon. Because, like, there's that thing, Zero Water. They have, like, that filter with, like, 5 different ways of filtering water.
Right.
And they give you that little stick to test the water, and it's just like, huh. And then I looked it up online. I found a bunch of test sticks on Amazon. Nuts.
That's a good idea. That would be a good thing to have in the go bag even.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we can't forget compost.
Yes. Okay, bring it.
So, like, if you have, like,
this is
bad
what Chin
vegetables,
needs right now.
So, like, if your food goes bad or, like, you're moving, like, you could just use anything, like eggshells in there. Fireplace ash works too, mixed in there. Like, animal poop, of course.
I mean, it's efficient. It does a good job. Except for not for pig poop. It's too close to humans. Chin, you can't use that one.
So, yeah.
It's
So you have some ideas of what to use for actual dirt to help with your gardening, too.
I always thought they would smell. I know I'm going to show myself, but, like, I always was opposed to composting as much because I'm just so afraid of, like, just having a stinky freaking bin of grossness. I just feed everything to the chickens, and then I use their excrement. We'll go from there.
But that's, like, hot, right? You can't put the chicken poop right on your garden. You have to.
Yeah, you got to mix it in with dirt and stuff like that. But I still do use it that way, especially when the soil's been super deteriorated over years and years to, like, give it that reinvigoration. Yeah. Rabbit's the best, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rabbit droppings are, like, the best for a garden because they hold their shape. So.
Yeah.
JB saying in the chat, just on the water restrictions, Washington, where she is, it's illegal to collect the rainwater, which is crazy because it rains so much up there. Lifting the restrictions. She thinks it's because of mosquitoes, and that would make sense. Oregon, though, has, like, gone full assault on small gardens, is what I've heard. I don't know if anybody else has information on that, but that was kind of crazy to hear. Why? But okay.
So continuing on the sorry.
Go ahead.
So continuing on the compost, thing. We had a compost bin at one of my houses that I lived at. It's not that bad of a smell, depending on what you put inside it.
Okay.
You mostly just put in like grass clippings, like eggshells, bad vegetables.
Yeah, food scraps.
Yeah, food scraps sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So those things would help absorb all the nasties. We really need to do it. We really need to develop a good compost system because the soil here is just the worst. It's all sand. So
Yeah.
you can't even grow potatoes in it. Or peanuts love sandy soil, and it's just, there's no nutrients in it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So. We're up against the wall, but we're figuring it out. We got, like I say, we got a nice couple beds for root vegetables now. We're going all containers for our other stuff this year. So I'll have to report back on how that all goes, but it's looking pretty good so far. Definitely best Texas year so far. And because we're not in the ground. So
That's good.
I know it's weird, but like we're, when it's in a container, you can be sure of like the drainage and all of that. So if you can grow like in the ground, the soil sucks so bad here that maybe you'd grow 8 tomatoes, but they only have 8 tomato plants, but they only yield like 5 or 6 tomatoes a piece. I mean, that's not enough to can or do anything with, right? So if I grow 4 plants instead, but the yield is up to maximum level, then it should be fine. So we'll see how it goes. It's still experimenting, like you say, stuff that works and stuff that doesn't. So,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Very cool.
Yep. So anything else you want to ask me here?
How about security concerns from an urban area? So when you think about big storm comes in, that kind of thing, is that throwing up more of a red flag in your head? Or are you feeling like you can pretty much trust the urban people that you're around? How does that sit from your standpoint there?
Well, from when we've done it, we had like no issues depending on where you live. I mean, in New York, I guess, like it might be different now.
Right. But you've seen like when you're in a disaster, because you've had hurricanes and whatnot up in your area, everybody's still like coming together for the community type thing. Does it pull it together or kind of people are just kind of going on it at their own pace?
They're kind of just going on at their own pace because
Gotcha.
like you have like down power lines sometimes, and it's just like almost like standstill. So it takes a while for things to get back to normal.
Got you. So everybody's just kind of like hold your breath and wait for.
Yeah, you just basically bunker down and wait for it to go kind of blow over.
The authorities to come get things cleaned up before you're worried about it again.
Yeah, down trees are real bad too.
Yep. Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of curious about.
Yeah, if you ever look on like you type in type in Google and look at the pictures of all the down trees on cars.
Right.
Yeah, that is
so
not
how
fun.
does the general cleanup with that go? Like, is it people taking care of their own spaces, or is it the city that comes in and does that?
Sometimes the city comes in and does it, and then some people who have their own tools kind of help out too.
Yep,
So.
take care of that. Okay. Yeah, we've done quite a few shows on like just what kind of tools you should actually have at your house to be able to be the road crew. That was an interesting topic that Chin had brought up a little bit ago, as far as like, you don't really think about that when you're in an urban area, but what if you don't have those people to rely upon to take care of it? So, yeah, interesting.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and get into some Changing Earth news and get this show on the road. Are you going to stick around, Gregory, or are you going to take off?
Sure, I'll stick around.
All right, we're going to roll out some Changing Earth news. We've had some interesting things happen, so the Earth is having fun right now. All right, here we go. Hold on one second.
Dream, survive, thrive. This is Changing Earth News.
JB's reporting in that trees are an issue there too. Yeah, trees have been a huge issue in California as well. And it's a serious storm when you see the big trees that come down, the old growth ones. That's how I knew when we hit Texas that we had been through a big storm. I was looking at old growth trees. They've survived a lot of storms. They didn't survive this one, right? Carry the chainsaw in the car. Yeah, I don't carry a chainsaw in my car, but but my husband's got one. All right, Changing Earth news. Today is April 7th, 2024. The sun is calm today, but it has been an interesting 2 weeks. Of course, everything decides to light up the week that I'm not going to do a show. So we had some big X-class solar flares that could have been big problems. Luckily, none of them were a big problem. No major systems went down, but it was some interesting solar activity that we've been watching. Today, it is calming down. We're only watching one plasma filament. It's a gigantic one, but it appears pretty stable. But we will be upticking solar activity as we go into the end of this month. The official hurricane forecast came out from the University of Colorado, and it is not looking good, guys. They are basically saying we're going to be looking at double the amount of hurricanes that we usually deal with, and possibly it could get severe enough to produce a Category 6 hurricane. So we're going to, I know. While Acapulco last year, down in Mexico, that was like a Cat 2, and then it just instantly went to a 5 and just smacked Acapulco. It was really, really odd to see it uptick so fast. So they're kind of concerned. And Ben was like, from Suspicious Observers, was like, it's not a forecast for a Cat 6, but it wouldn't surprise him if there was one. And I was like, wow. For him to say that, that's something. He's pretty exact on what he actually lets fall out of his mouth. On April 1st, it's true. It's true. Like, if he's going off, if it's politics or whatever, fine. But when it comes to like real, like scientific stuff that he knows his stuff on, it's pretty right on. Okay, April 1st, 2024, 364 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.9 in Japan. On April 2nd, there was 375 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was the 7.4 that hit in the Philippine Sea and Taiwan. So that is the Taiwanese earthquake that hit. That was a massive earthquake. It's the biggest earthquake they've seen in 25 years. It injured at least 800 people and killed 9 people. The second, Southern California received 2 inches of rain in 1 hour, causing flooding, more flight delays there in Southern California. St. Louis was also seeing some flash flooding with heavy rains. Venezuela has had a record drought, bringing wildfires with that activity, and Quebec also had its 3rd wildfire of the year. In Indiana in the United States, there was a tornado that came through, flipping semis and cars, so lots of disruptive weather going across central United States. And in West Bengal, there was a cyclone that came in. I'm not even going to try to say the name of the cyclone. I will just slaughter it. It killed 5 people and injured over 100 people. Madagascar was hit with Cyclone Gamani, and 18 people were killed in that event when that cyclone hit. On April 3rd of 2024, there was 467 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger. Big uptick from the day before. This is solar activity for sure having an effect. There was a 6.4 follow-up earthquake in the Philippine Sea by Taiwan. Those are aftershocks that were hitting. Cincinnati, Ohio saw some major flooding with subdivisions submerged in water. And in Brazil, their Amazon is having record wildfires for February. So that's never a good thing when the Amazon's on fire. Tennessee, the town of Sunbright was hit by a tornado. And in Iceland, they saw another eruption with at the same time as the Northern Lights were displaying. And so those pictures are really, really neat to go watch. If you're going to go watch any of the volcanic activity that happens in Iceland, go look for the pictures of it erupting with the Northern Lights in the background. It's beautiful. On April, right? It was pretty cool to see the pictures. On April 4th of 24, there was 435 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.1 in the North Pacific Ocean by Japan. The east coast of the United States got hit with flooding, tropical storm force winds, lots of power outages. That storm that was hitting the central United States moved over there onto the coast. And then Quebec also got hit with probably that same storm pattern, left thousands of people without power there as well. On the 5th of April, there was 409 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 6.8 in the Philippine Sea by the North Mariana Islands. On the 6th of April, there was 392 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.4 in the North Pacific Ocean near Japan. So that area is still just rocking and rolling. There was a 4.8 earthquake in Pennsylvania, biggest earthquake in 140 years. Felt all the way to New York. Big earthquake up there. That was a big topic of conversation on that day. And Sydney, Australia is breaking rain records now. So they've had over 200 flood-related rescues from the amount of rain that they're receiving over there. I got to get on the line with Ellen, make sure she's good. Oklahoma had a series of wildfires break out on the 6th, but they were contained as of today. And Cyclone Olga is headed for Australia's west coast. So Australia's east coast is getting pummeled right now, and then the cyclone is going to head in for the west coast of Australia. Storm Kathleen is headed into the UK. Hundreds of flights were delayed because of that huge storm coming in. And then as of today, 413 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.2 in the Solomon Sea. In Orsk, Russia, over 2,000 people have been evacuated so far. They had a massive dam burst. It is affecting 30 regions in Russia. They have over 4,000 homes flooded, so they definitely need some prayers over there with that incident that happened. It was a dam break, and so it's really unusual to get that amount of flooding in those areas. So prayers for the people over there. As far as volcanoes, we have 30 erupting volcanoes today, 20 showing minor activity, and 30 showing unrest. So we've actually added 3 to the list. Not very surprising with the amount of earthquake activity that just happened, but also something of note. So added 1 to the erupting. We never see them up at 30. That's a lot of erupting volcanoes, and added 3 to the minor activity. As far as wildfires in the United States, we have only 3 large wildfires going right now for a total of just above 1,100 acres. So we really have no fire activity going right now. Number 1 on the list is Alabama with 604 acres. This is from one fire. The big, that's, there's 5 new ones and 4 contained. So there's still 1 fire burning. And in Florida, there's 290 acres ablaze. This is from one fire. It is not contained at this time. And there's also reports coming in from Missouri, 250 acres burning. This is from one new fire, and they have 3 of those contained. And then, as I mentioned, the wildfires in Oklahoma are also 100% contained as well. All righty. Well, that's, during the Easter break, I was just watching the sun go off, and I'm like, oh, it figures we're not going to have a podcast. And our son's just going crazy. It was one of those hold on to your britches moment, because that X-Class was really, really big. Always impressive to watch, too, if you're into watching that activity happen on the sun. So, all righty, guys. Well, short show today. I got other plans tonight as well. But yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun. And I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Always good to have those voices, those diverse voices on the phone. So thank you for both coming on the show. And of course, your work with the audio drama. Without you guys, I can't make that show possible. So I appreciate that as well.
Oh, I would love to come on again some other time too.
Absolutely. Let's do it. You keep learning, and we'll keep getting updated with your journey.
Thanks. And I also have some other interesting little subjects to cover too.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. If you want to help the Changing Earth world go round, please head over to www.changingearthseries.com. Become a subscriber. Help the show keep going. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in the chat room. It's always good to see you there. I always appreciate the input. All right, guys. Until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive. Nice. I love
Very
it.
nice.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.